today's world, our minds rarely find peace. We wake up with stress, carry anxiety through the day, and go to bed with thoughts that refuse to let us sleep. It feels like no matter what we achieve, the noise inside never stops. But monks have discovered a way of living where the mind becomes calm, clear, and unshaken. Their path doesn't require you to escape the world. It teaches you how to face it with inner strength. And once you learn it, even the darkest voices in your head begin to lose their power. A monk does not argue with his thoughts, nor does he try to push them away. He simply watches them. When a negative thought arises, most people either believe it blindly or wrestle with it until they feel exhausted. But a monk takes a step back and sees it for what it really is. Just a passing thought, not an absolute truth. The moment you realize that thoughts are like passing clouds and you are the vast sky behind them, everything changes. The cloud may look dark and heavy, but it cannot stain the sky. In the same way, no thought, no matter how negative or painful, defines who you are. By practicing this awareness, you begin to create distance between yourself and the noise in your head. And in that space, the so-called demons lose their grip, and your mind finally tastes the calm it was searching for all along. Most people think freedom means being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want. But that kind of freedom often leads to chaos, sleeping late, scrolling endlessly on your phone, eating without control, avoiding responsibilities, and then wondering why life feels empty and restless. Monks live by a different truth. Real freedom is born from discipline. By waking up early, keeping a simple routine, and committing to practices like meditation, chanting, or mindful work, they protect themselves from the constant pull of distraction. Discipline is not a prison. It's a shield. It gives the mind structure, stability, and strength. Think of it this way. A river without banks spills everywhere and loses its power. But with strong banks, it flows with direction and force. In the same way, discipline gives your energy a clear path, so your mind is no longer controlled by every impulse or temptation. The demons of laziness, procrastination, and distraction only survive when there are no boundaries. But once you build discipline, those demons starve, and in their place, you discover a deeper kind of freedom. The freedom to focus, to grow, and to live with purpose. In today's world, silence has almost disappeared. From the moment we wake up, we are surrounded by constant noise. The buzzing of notifications, endless conversations, social media updates, streaming videos, and the chatter of our own restless thoughts. Most people feel uncomfortable with silence, so they fill every empty moment with noise. But monks have discovered something profound. Silence is not emptiness, it is power. Demons of fear, anger, and doubt thrive when the mind is distracted, but in silence, they are exposed and weakened. Imagine sitting quietly, away from the rush, with nothing but your breath and your thoughts. At first, it feels uncomfortable, even unbearable, because the noise in your head gets louder. But if you stay with it, if you let the silence surround you, something shifts. You begin to see that the mind's chatter is just like an echo. It only has power as long as you feed it with attention. Monks practice silence not only by being quiet in words, but also by learning when not to react, when not to explain, when not to argue. Silence becomes their shield. It allows them to hear the deeper voice within, the one that is calm, wise, and steady. In silence, the mind becomes clear, like still water reflecting the sky. And when the mind is clear, the demons of confusion and fear lose their power completely. This is why silence, though it seems small, is one of the most powerful weapons a monk carries. At the heart of suffering lies one simple truth. We refuse to accept what is. When pain comes, we run. When fear rises, we fight. When life changes, We cling desperately to what once was, yet the harder we resist, the more tightly suffering grips us. A monk understands this deeply. He does not waste energy asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Because he knows the universe does not bend to his will. Instead, he bows to reality as it is. Not in defeat, but in wisdom. Acceptance is not surrender. It is not saying, "I like this pain," or "I want this fear." It is simply saying, "This is here, and I will face it." When anger burns in the chest, the ordinary mind tries to push it away, but monks breathe into it, acknowledging, "Anger has entered my mind." In this moment of recognition, the anger is no longer a master. It becomes an object of awareness. Fear is the same. Instead of running, they sit with it. Fear only has power when it is hidden in the dark corners of the mind. When brought into the light of acceptance, it begins to dissolve. Think of resistance like a rope pulled in a tug of war. The more you pull against reality, the more it pulls back, burning your hands and exhausting your strength. But the moment you let go of the rope, the struggle ends instantly. The situation may still exist, but the suffering is gone. That is the secret of acceptance. It does not erase life's challenges, but it erases the war within yourself. We live in a world obsessed with control. We try to control our image, our future, our relationships, our success. And when things slip away, as they inevitably do, we suffer twice. Once from the loss itself, and again from our refusal to accept it. Monks break free from this cycle by embracing impermanence. They accept that nothing lasts. Joy fades, sorrow fades, health changes, seasons turn, people come and go. Instead of clinging, they learn to flow. Like a tree that bends with the storm instead of breaking, acceptance gives them strength that resistance never could. The greatest illusion of the mind is believing that fighting reality makes us stronger. In truth, resistance keeps us chained, always in battle with life itself. But when you accept, you unlock a deeper power. You stop wasting energy on what you cannot change and start channeling it toward what you can. Acceptance turns suffering into a teacher. Pain becomes a lesson in resilience. Fear becomes an invitation to courage. Loss becomes a reminder of what truly matters. And here lies the deepest wisdom. The demons in your head, fear, anger, regret, doubt, cannot survive in an accepting mind. They feed only on resistance. They need you to fight them, to deny them, to cling to their stories. When you open your heart and say, "Yes, this too belongs," the demons have nowhere to live. They fade like shadows in sunlight. To accept is not to be passive. It is to stand in the middle of life, unarmed yet unafraid. It is to face the storm and realize it cannot drown you. It is to stop demanding that life be different and instead walk with it as it is. In this, acceptance becomes the highest form of strength. For what power is greater than a heart at peace, no matter what the world brings? The greatest suffering of the human mind is not caused by what happens to us, but by the way we cling to what we cannot hold. We cling to people, believing they will remain the same forever. We cling to possessions, thinking they will give us lasting security. We cling to ideas, assuming the world must always match our beliefs. We cling to identity, fearing that without certain labels or recognition, we are nothing. Yet life reveals again and again that everything changes. The more tightly we grasp, the more painful the loss becomes when change inevitably arrives. A monk understands that attachment is the birthplace of fear and anxiety, and therefore practices the art of detachment. But detachment is often misunderstood. It is not rejection of the world, not indifference, not a lack of care. True detachment means to fully experience life while refusing to be enslaved by it. It means to hold everything with open hands, knowing that what comes will one day go. Attachment turns the mind into a battlefield. The demon of fear is born from it, whispering endlessly, "What if I lose this? What if it leaves? What if it changes?" The demon of jealousy grows from it, gnawing at your peace whenever someone else gains what you wanted for yourself. The demon of greed feeds on it, convincing you that no matter how much you have, it is never enough. The demon of pride rises from it, tying your sense of worth to fragile possessions, titles, or the opinions of others. When your happiness depends on what you hold, these demons will always torment you, for nothing in this world is permanent. A monk silences these voices, not by running from life, but by loosening his grip on it. He understands that freedom does not come from owning more, it comes from needing less. Monks live with simplicity, not because they despise comfort, but because they know comfort easily becomes a chain. They eat simple meals, wear simple robes, and own very little, not to escape joy, but to taste it more fully. When you are free from the need to cling, the smallest things, a smile, the sound of wind in the trees, the taste of water, become sources of peace. Detachment sharpens gratitude, because instead of demanding more, you finally see the beauty of what already is. And when change comes, as it always will, you can bow to it with grace rather than collapse in resistance. A broken object does not break your spirit. A loss does not destroy your purpose, and the shifting of fortune does not strip away your peace. Detachment also changes the way we love. Most people confuse attachment with love, believing that to cling tightly is to care deeply. But clinging is not love. It is fear disguised as love. It suffocates, controls, and demands. A monk loves differently. He does not chain others to his expectations. He gives without measuring what will return. He cares without seeking control. He loves without the fear of losing. This kind of love is stronger, not weaker, because it comes from freedom rather than fear. When people leave, when relationships shift, sadness may come, but devastation does not, because true love, when free from attachment, continues even when the form changes. It is not possession, it is presence. To practice detachment is to end the war within yourself. It is the recognition that nothing you cling to can truly belong to you. Not wealth, not status, not relationships, not even your own body. All of it is temporary. And yet, in letting go, you do not lose life. You finally begin to live it. You discover joy not in the objects you cling to, but in the awareness that you need nothing to be whole. You realize peace is not found in securing everything, but in being free from the fear of losing it. Detachment transforms the mind from a restless prisoner into a vast open sky where every cloud of fear, desire, or grief passes without leaving a scar. The demons of the mind, fear, jealousy, greed, pride, cannot survive where detachment is practiced daily. They need your grasping to stay alive. They need you to cling, to obsess, to hold tightly to what cannot be held. When you release that grip, they are starved of energy. And in their silence, you find a stillness so deep, a freedom so vast, that no loss, no change, no death itself can shake it. This is the gift of detachment. Not emptiness, but fullness. Not coldness, but freedom. Not the absence of life, but the discovery of life in its purest form. For the one who has learned detachment has silenced the loudest demons of the human heart and uncovered the unshakable peace that lies beneath them all. One of the deepest truths monks discover is that most of our inner demons are born from excessive self-focus. When the mind is obsessed with me, my success, my image, my needs, my pain, it becomes a breeding ground for restlessness. The demon of insecurity whispers, "You are not good enough." The demon of pride insists, "You must always be admired." The demon of comparison poisons your peace with endless measuring against others. And the demon of emptiness asks, what is the point of all this? These demons thrive in a mind trapped in its own orbit, circling endlessly around the self. Monks silence them through a profound shift. They dedicate their lives to serving something greater than themselves. Service is not an act they do occasionally. It is the very center of their path. They see beyond their personal desires and devote their energy to compassion, wisdom, and the well-being of others. By stepping out of their small circle of self, the walls that imprison most minds begin to crumble. When your purpose is self-centered, your happiness rises and falls with your moods, your achievements, and how others treat you. This is why so many people today, despite wealth or recognition, still feel empty. They live for themselves alone, and the self is never satisfied. But when you begin to serve, when your life is directed toward kindness, helping others, easing suffering, protecting truth, your existence gains a weight and meaning that no demon can shake. The monk wakes before dawn not for applause, but to light lamps in the temple, sweep the courtyard, and prepare food for the community. He listens to the troubles of villagers, teaches wisdom to children, and prays for the world. These acts may seem small, but they are powerful because they shift the center of life from I to we, from mine to ours. In this shift, the demons of loneliness and worthlessness fall silent because you are no longer living only for yourself. You are part of something infinite. Service transforms suffering itself. Imagine carrying a heavy stone up a hill. If you are told, carry this for no reason, the task feels unbearable. But if you are told, carry this to save a child's life, the same burden becomes light, even meaningful. The weight hasn't changed, but your reason has. This is what serving something greater does. It changes the meaning of your struggles. When monks endure long hours of meditation, hunger or cold, they do not see it as pointless suffering. They see it as training for compassion, as sacrifice for truth, as discipline for the good of all beings. Their demons of doubt and despair cannot survive in the presence of purpose. And in our lives too, the burdens we carry become lighter when we carry them for love, for family, for community, for something beyond ourselves. The modern world encourages the opposite. It glorifies self-obsession. Social media trains people to constantly ask, how do I look? How am I judged? Am I liked? Careers often become about climbing ladders for personal gain. Relationships become transactions, and even acts of kindness are often posted online for approval. This culture feeds the demons of ego, envy, and comparison. But monks show us another way. True service is quiet, humble, often unseen. It is helping without the need to announce it. It is giving without calculating the return. It is listening when someone needs a voice, sharing when someone hungers, forgiving when someone fails. In this way, service is both a practice and a purification. It washes away the poison of self-centered living. There is also a deeper mystery. When you serve others, you serve yourself in the highest sense, not the small self of ego, but the larger self that is connected to all life. Every act of compassion strengthens your heart. Every moment of service builds inner peace. The demons that once shouted in your mind grow weaker because service forces you to act with love instead of fear, generosity instead of greed, humility instead of pride. By serving, you replace the voices of darkness with the light of connection. This is why monks radiate peace when you see them. Their calm is not because they escaped life, but because they live for something bigger than life itself. To serve something greater than yourself does not mean you must abandon everything and live in a monastery. It means to begin seeing beyond your own desires in daily life. It could mean showing kindness to a stranger, giving time to help someone in need, or dedicating your work not only to profit, but to making the world a little better. It means parenting with patience, leading with compassion, speaking with truth, and living with integrity. Not for recognition, but because the act itself carries meaning. When you live this way, your demons lose their hold. The demon of emptiness, can it haunt you when your days are filled with purpose? The demon of insecurity, can it break you when your worth comes from giving rather than from being seen? The demon of loneliness cannot touch you when you realize you are part of a greater whole. This is the ultimate silence of service. It does not quiet the mind by force, but by filling it with something higher. A mind devoted to self will always be restless, but a mind devoted to service is unshakable. The monk knows that life is not about clinging to what you can get, but about offering what you can give. And in that giving, the deepest paradox is revealed. You lose nothing, yet gain everything. You silence every demon of the ego, and in their place arises a peace that is vast, enduring, and beyond the reach of time. The greatest secret monks carry is not in words, rituals, or even in teachings, but in the deep stillness they cultivate within. Stillness is not simply silence of the mouth or quietness of the surroundings. It is the unwavering calm that exists even when storms rage outside and battles roar within. In our world today, people run endlessly, from work to distractions, from noise to more noise, from one craving to the next, never stopping long enough to notice that the demons in their heads thrive in this restlessness. Fear grows louder when the mind is busy, anger becomes sharper when silence is absent, and doubt multiplies in constant noise. But monks step into stillness. They withdraw not to escape, but to face life fully, stripped of illusion. In that sacred space of stillness, every demon is exposed. Fear can no longer hide because silence makes it visible. Anger cannot disguise itself because stillness reveals its heat before it erupts. Doubt cannot deceive because in stillness, truth is clearer than thought. And here lies the ultimate victory. Stillness itself defeats them. A restless mind is a battlefield. A still mind is a temple. The monk learns to breathe deeply, to sit unmoving, to let thoughts rise and dissolve until he discovers something eternal, the space within that no demon can touch. This stillness is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is awareness alive, peace unshaken, strength unbreakable. It is the place where you realize you are not your fears, not your failures, not even your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, infinite and free. In this discovery, every demon loses its grip, for what can trouble the vast ocean of stillness? Just as waves may rise on the surface but cannot disturb the depth, so too the storms of the mind can't harm the one who has found the depth of stillness within. This is why monks appear unshakable. They do not conquer demons by force. They dissolve them in the power of inner silence. And if you, even for a moment each day, enter that stillness, by sitting quietly, by observing your breath, by letting the world fall away, you too will touch that invincible strength. For in the stillness, there is no fear, no anger, no doubt, only the vast eternal presence that nothing can destroy. In the end, the demons in your head are not monsters hiding in the dark. They are your own thoughts, fears, and emotions, fed by your resistance, your restlessness, and your illusions. The monk's way is not about running from them, nor about fighting them with force. It is about seeing them clearly, accepting them fully, and then realizing they hold no true power over you. This path is not reserved only for monks in temples or mountains. It is a path for you here, in the middle of modern chaos. Every moment you choose awareness over reaction, you silence a demon. Every time you accept reality instead of resisting it, you take back your freedom. Every step into stillness, no matter how small, brings you closer to that unshakable strength within. The world will never stop testing you. Storms will come, losses will happen, doubts will rise. But if you carry these teachings, you will stand unbroken. You will not be a prisoner of your mind. You will be its master. And mastery over the mind is the highest victory any human can achieve. Remember this: the demons are loud only when your heart is restless. But when you enter stillness, when you embrace awareness, when you accept life as it is, their voices fade, their shadows vanish, and what remains is the vastness of your true self, infinite, untouchable, free. This is the monk's way. This is the path that silences every demon in your head.